Choose a focus on people, a focus on community. These are the stories that affect all of us in Northeast Ohio. This is 43 Focus.
July is Black and Indigenous and People of Color Mental Health Month. It has been set aside to highlight and address the mental health challenges found in the aforementioned populations. There are stresses that are magnified by just being a minority in America, and they're often going unaddressed. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Harry Boomer, your host and executive producer of 43 Focus. How one thinks of him or herself is crucial to their well-being. Now consider if a person is physically inhibited from acting or thinking the way they should because the signals don't reach the parts of the brain that allow the correct connections. In steps Neuro Sympathetic treatment. It's an alternative to the normally prescribed ways of dealing with cognitive health issues. This morning, my two guests, Kelly Price, CEO and founder of Reset Medical and Wellness Center in Strongsville, and Blandine Williams, a travel nurse who says she has found relief from taking the treatment, will acquaint us with this treatment. So you know it is not an endorsement of this therapy, but simply informational so you can make an informed decision about it or more traditional treatments.
It no longer has to be somebody in the military that has PTSD or mental health issues, anxiety, depression, things like that. So when I found out about it, not only do I immediately say my son, who's a fireman here in Cleveland, needs the treatment, but I said more and more people need to know about this. So I sold my company a couple of years ago. I had been just doing charitable work, and I really thought this is where God was calling me, is to help people that really, really need help with their mental health. So the neurosympathetic reset, it's a procedure, a very simple procedure. It takes about 6 minutes on each side, a total of about 20 minutes. And it's a pain block that's been used for many years, but is being used now to reset your sympathetic nerve to allow you to be able to process emotions in a healthy manner.
Is this similar to shock therapy that we give out from the old days?
Yeah, no, it's completely different. It's very, very safe. It's really just a pain block. It's ropivacaine that's used in a pain block, 2 areas on each side of the neck. Blandine has been through it, so that's why she's here with us today. But it allows your sympathetic nerve to be reset, very similar to a computer. Like if your brain is constantly on fire and you're trying to process emotion, but you can't, or maybe you're in a fight or a flight mode, or maybe even frozen state, it allows your sympathetic nerve, which is the nerve we need to know to run when we're being chased by a bear. But sometimes that gets overstimulated for a long period of time and it gets stuck on. So this allows the sympathetic nerve to be reset and your nerve endings to heal, so that now when you have an emotion, such as something that's happened to you in the past, maybe a traumatic event, when you come across that thought or feeling, you can now process it and compartmentalize it and put it in the right spot versus, just sit in a state of trauma or unable to do anything. We have people that couldn't even go to the store anymore that have been, so riddled with anxiety and hypervigilance that they can't even get out and go to the store. But by resetting that sympathetic nerve, literally within minutes, it allows you to feel and process emotions again.
Let's talk briefly, if you could, about PTSD. We have traditionally thought of it as being somebody affected would be somebody in the military who's been in the theater of war. But what is there that's causing all of this now among the rest of us in America? And as you know, and the numbers are increasing all the time, if we can find out what is causing this, we can find better ways to prevent it and then hopefully to treat it with technologies and medical procedures like you're talking about at Reset.
Yeah, and I think that's a great question, Harry. There is so many things today that are social stresses and, related to social media, the pressures, COVID, put so many people into a state of trauma and anxiety. But what happens is you have a sympathetic nerve that processes. And every time you have trauma, if you don't take time to really heal immediately from that through talk therapy, meditation, mindfulness, exercise, that those traumas start to build. And I consider it like a muscle. Like if you look at a muscle that you're going to go out and build up, you're going to tear it down by lifting weights, and then it heals and it gets bigger. And then you tear it down, it gets bigger, and you tear it down, it gets bigger. It keeps getting bigger to where your muscles are now stronger. But the problem is when you do that type of stress on your sympathetic nerve by traumas, repeated stress, constant stress for financial needs, things like that, that it allows your sympathetic nerve to no longer process, and it gets almost injured to a point that it can't process emotion. So it's just stuck in your frontal cortex and constantly on fire. It's literally like sitting at a 10 or a 9 on your fire scale, or what they, if somebody says, I have a short fuse, it's because their nerve endings are actually damaged. And so what we've learned is that PTSD, often called a disorder, we're trying to destigmatize that. So there's a foundation out there called It's PTSD, and they're trying, or It's PTSI, they're trying to destigmatize PTSD to being an injury and not a disorder, because oftentimes a disorder is something that cannot be treated, but we are finding that this can be treated through the sympathetic nerve block that allows you to start healing those nerve endings and process emotion again, which Blandine experienced quite well.
Yeah, Blandine, your name has been invoked at least twice, so let's get you into this. Talk about what it was that you were going through and how this procedure has helped you.
I'm speaking on behalf of nurses, those that worked through COVID. We started getting the symptoms, we kept getting reinfected, the stress of dealing with everyday residents, patients, family members, and everything else. And like Kelly stated, with the environmental factors, it takes a toll after a while. And what I can say that happened to me is I've got military background. I've always been the type of person that was very organized, very detailed. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I had long COVID symptoms, brain fog, stress, everything I was going through. And then a good friend of mine calls me and says, Blandine, I think I have a cure for you. And I'm like, whatever. And she was like, you got to try it. And I'm like, well, did you try it? She was like, yes. I said, well, how do you feel? She says, it's this calm. It's this calm. And that's the calm I'm looking for, because I'm going mile a minute. I'm involved in this. I'm a psych nurse also. I'm involved in organizations. I'm always on the go. I do real estate. I'm everywhere. My mind, even when I'm asleep, my mind is still going. And I haven't had any kind of relief until I met Kelly and at the Reset Wellness. And let me tell you something. Every time I think about it, it's like I want to cry. And I'm not even an emotional person. I'm always this bad, tough girl, like, hey, you need to do this and you need to do that. And for that, to have that profound experience, I've been calm. Things that usually make me mad. I have a 26-year-old son and a 20-year-old. So you already know how, if they're not doing the things you want them to do. And, and I'm like, you got to do this, you got to do that. And like I said, I am the family matriarch. I'm in charge of everyone. I'm everyone's proxy. That takes a toll on your life. And to the point that they were like, oh, Blandine, it's anxiety. I'm like, Black women don't have time for anxiety. I said, we deal with everyday factors. I was like, we suck it up and drive on. And they were like, no, I got a heart monitor the week before when I went to Kelly's clinic in Ohio, in Cleveland. I had the heart monitor on, because I was like, no, I chucked it up to everything but anxiety, because in our culture, we don't believe in anxiety. It's whatever. It's every day, whatever.
What you got to do, get through it, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, don't look back. And Black mental health in the Black community especially is like a big taboo. Like, what's wrong with you? You're either really crazy or you just keep it going. So I'm so happy that I found Kelly and her organization and the clinic. They were all wonderful. The doctor, the nurses, they made you feel at home. And I'm like, wait a minute, you think when you're from New York and you're from Boston, you're like, I'm going into a like farm town. I'm thinking of Ohio, but you know, the only thing Ohio's associated with the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron, right?
Exactly.
So I'm like, all right, where am I going? And then I got there. They were so welcoming. They made me feel at home. I feel like I'm part of the family. And let me tell you something, Harry. The calm, I'm more focused. I can gather my thoughts. My mind is rested. I have not felt like this since I was a little girl. I have told everyone I can possibly tell. I've called all my nurses, former employees, former employers, my family members, everyone. I'm like, you need to get to Cleveland. You need to get to Reset Wellness, because they will get your life right back where it used to be before all the everyday stresses started to appear, before you had responsibility. That's the calm that it gives you.
As we go to my first break, I want to invite you to catch my news reports weekdays at 3, 4, 5, and 6 on our sister station, Cleveland 19. Please like me on Facebook. You can also call me at my desk at 216-367-7323 with news, tips, and story ideas. My special guest, Kelly Price, the founder and CEO of Reset Medical and Wellness Center in Strongsville, and Blandine Williams, a travel nurse who used the Sympathetic Reset treatment, and I will continue our discussion about the mental health during Black and Indigenous and People of Color Month. Please stay with us.
43 Focus will be back after these messages.
Weeknights on MeTV, watch Andy Griffith at 8, The Beverly Hillbillies at 9, and Green Acres at 9:30.
MeTV, WOIO 19.2.
Why would you call anyone else after being injured in a car accident? Freeman, Damiano, and Smith have been right here in Ohio for nearly 50 years. You deserve the very best representation. Our staff is dedicated to helping you. We recover millions of dollars for our clients every year. And remember, we don't get paid unless you win. You know us. Freeman, Damiano, and Smith, fighting for you.
Kelly Price, the CEO and founder of Reset Medical and Wellness Center in Strongsville, and Blandine Williams, a travel nurse, are my special guest this morning on this edition of 43 Focus. Welcome back. Often in the minority communities, we are discouraged from seeking mental health counseling for fear of being labeled or shunned because of the misunderstanding and misinformation about mental health concerns. So it might be beneficial to us to at least consider alternative ways of dealing with how our bodies deal with the mental health in this community and in that population, period.
Kelly, talk about this a little bit more. You know, in this society for decades and decades and decades, if something is wrong with you, you pop a pill and you keep on moving. Take this and call me in the morning kind of mentality. We're not talking about that here.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually listening to a book this morning, and they were talking about how, you know, even a doctor, a long-term doctor of yours, will prescribe you medicine and then send you on your way and still never follow up with you to say, did it actually work? And so medicine has such a low efficacy rate. In a lot, you know, we were working with a psychologist, and she said, I have patients in my office that I talk to for the same issues for 10 years. They just can't process it. And it's not a matter of not trying. It's a matter that you actually have a physical injury to your sympathetic nervous system that allows you not to process anymore. And so until you can reset that, very similar to like resetting a computer, if your computer is going wacko, you shut it down and you restart it. And basically all this does is temporarily shuts down your sympathetic nervous system to allow the nerve endings to heal, and then you can process again. Now, I mean, my son-in-law did it, and his therapist says literally he's gotten more traction in his talk therapy in the last 6 months since he had the treatment than he ever did in all the years they had worked together, because they can't literally process it. It is an injury. And so when you have your sympathetic nerve that's injured and it's not going to heal through talk therapy generally, this allows that reset. You're still going to need to do the work, right? It's not like magically you have to do some things that keep you healthy and do that. And if you go right back in to the same traumatic situation, you probably will need another treatment. That's the reason we actually give discounts for first responders, military, nurses, teachers, because they go right back into the trauma. Like they go right back into the event. My son, that's a Strongsville fireman, you know, had been on a couple of really bad murder suicides, some different things very early in his career, and was having major issues sleeping, insomnia. It helps insomnia tremendously. I mean, a lot of different things. And he literally, 2 years into the job, was having troubles with all of this. And he had been in talk therapy every month and done it, but you just can't stop that thinking, you know, that trauma that you've been through, or that you drive past the event that it happened and it re-triggers it. And so, although he's been great for the past 6 months, but he hasn't been on another really traumatic call or, you know, event since then that's triggered him. But we know that the second you reignite that you're probably going to need to be treated again. So we literally do it just about at our cost for first responders, because in military and nurses, because we know they're back out there doing it over and over again. So one of our missions is to truly help people in need. We've tried to make it as affordable as possible. We've partnered with Erase PTSD now that provides grants for people that can't afford it. We have 15-month stimulus. We've done everything to try and make it available to as many people as possible at the lowest cost possible. Because for me, you know, I owned a business and I was able to sell it and I'm financially stable. But this today is a mission. It is a mission to help people, and we're going to give back as much as we possibly can to the people that need the help.
One of the things I want to do this in a point of disclaimer, we're not saying that this is the cure-all for everything. We're not dissing traditional medicine. We're saying, in addition to, this is an alternative kind of treatment that is available should you decide to make yourself available for it. Because, you know, doctors and nurses and those of us who are out there, we do different things to cope. And hopefully we don't self-medicate to the point that it becomes a problem. But again, this is an alternative way of looking at, and as from your point of view and from Blandine's point of view, it is helpful, it is restorative. If I sprain my ankle, I can't run as fast, jump as high, but if I take the physical therapy and reset that, take the time to heal that ankle, I can do much better. We're thinking about resetting the sympathetic nerve, I think is what you were saying. Talk a little bit more about that. And Blandine, after she does that, I'd like to get back into your situation and how you feel that it is beneficial to you and others as well. Go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, so I think you make some really good points. This is not, first of all, if you're on medication or you're in talk therapy, we say work with your therapist, work with your doctors. A lot of people are able to reduce the amount of medicine that they're on, but that is really up to you and your doctor. There are reasons for medicine. You know, I don't have high blood pressure anymore, but my doctor keeps me on the medicine because it gives me other benefits. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things, like we say, don't just, you know, consider this, but it allows you to process and start to heal. And, you know, my friend that was stuck in a frozen state for many years, no laughing, no crying, no anything, had been on so much medicine, shaking constantly from all the medicine she was on, in and out of therapy, in and out of this. This allowed her, like, she, for the first time, literally right on the table, started crying. She's on our website. You can see her testimony, but literally started crying. And she's like, I can feel emotion again. And she hadn't felt emotion for so long. But, you know, she's been able to reduce her medicine, but there's still need for things like that. So don't obviously take this as like, this is going to cure everything. But I will say, the military, there's a big, huge article out there that it was deemed the God shot, because they've literally found so much ability to heal from their PTSD, or PTSI as an injury, that they feel like it's given them a new lease on life. And so it allows you to start to live again and to heal again. But Blandine, I'll let you go ahead and explain maybe what has happened for you differently.
Okay, what has happened for me differently? I can state that I'm more calm. I approach things in a different manner. Before I was real aggressive. Now I'm not as aggressive. I have time to really think things through. When I came back from Columbus, I actually had Jaco come into my facility the state. And usually that's high stress amounts because you have to make sure that the state has everything is documented correctly and everything else. And I dealt with that with a breeze, with a calm. I'm not as angry as before. I'm not quick to get upset. It has, I can go on, and it's emotionally has changed me. I'm more assertive. Before the brain fog, you're like, wait, let me think. I got to write everything down. I chucked it up to either I'm starting with early Alzheimer's or I just can't get it. And I'd have to write everything down. Now I can actually remember and think and regroup. Even my marriage has strengthened. Both my husband and I received the shot. He was like, I was only here for support. I wasn't supposed to receive this injection. But I'm like, happy wife, happy life. Let's go. And my husband and I, we cried. And it was just, I've never, like I said, I didn't even have time to mourn a cousin I lost. He was murdered in Lynn. And I never got a chance to cry because we don't have a chance to cry. It's like, I got to keep moving. All right, on to the next. And then as a nurse, firefighter, police officer, you start to get numb. But now I have feelings and emotions again. And like now I have actually sympathy. It's not that I was unsympathetic. I'm like, okay, all right. Oh, you have a boo-boo, you have a cut. All right, come on, give me something serious. Give me something with, like a stroke or a heart attack. But now I can actually deal with each individual and each emotion. And that's the benefit.
Kelly Price is the CEO and founder of the Reset Medical and Wellness Center in Strongsville, and Blandine Williams is a travel nurse, and they're still with us this morning. I appreciate your being here too. Also, this reminder, if you need a master of ceremony or a keynote speaker for your nonprofit event, give me a call at 216-367-7323 or email me at hboomer@woio.com. Thanks.
43 Focus will be back after these messages.
We're tracking a strong line of storms moving through Northeast Ohio for your Wednesday morning. No matter what's coming your way, you'll always know first with the 19 First Alert Weather Team.
Watch this. It's all 100% real. Witness what happens to this woman's bags under her eyes in an actual time lapse in just minutes. Nothing has been doctored or tampered with. The very real problem will disappear before your eyes and hers with a revolutionary topical formulation that works in just minutes, and the effects will last for hours and hours. Over 1 million people are using this topical technique to visually reduce puffiness and bags. It works on sagging jowls, even fine lines and wrinkles on the face and forehead. Introducing Plexiderm. In just minutes, you can restore and beautify your face, even look years younger. And the look will last all day or all evening.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm just in love with the mirror right now.
Jump on board and say yes to this amazing $14.95 Prove It Plexiderm trial. You'll see why our customers describe Plexiderm with 3 words. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Order right now. We'll pay your shipping. Operators are standing by.
I'm Andy Chillian. The 19 First Alert Weather Team will get you ready for everything.
Welcome back. Kelly Price, the CEO and founder of Reset Medical and Wellness Center in Strongsville, and Blandine Williams, a travel nurse, are still with us here on 43 Focus. We're talking about how stressors greatly affect minority groups and about how Neuro Sympathetic Research, or Reset, might be an alternative for you. This is an informational discussion, not an endorsement of the treatment. But we need to find ways of dealing with this illness, so I'm making you aware so you can at least consider it if you think it would benefit you or somebody you care about.
Blandine, share a little bit of your experience, like right on the table. Like, I mean, as soon as we were done, the emotion that you were able to feel.
It poured in. It was building up, and I'm like, all right, cut the cameras. I want no one to see me cry. Because like I said, I have this tough girl exterior. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, I tried to hold it, and it all came pouring out. I cried for things that happened 20, 30 years ago. I cried for things that I suppressed, things that I didn't realize that I went through. And I was like, I have to tell the world about this. And I said, especially our community, because our community just keeps going and going, and we have so much to deal with. And I told Kelly, I said, Kelly, I want to be your poster girl for this. I said, I want to be a liaison, whatever capacity that you could place me in. I have to tell my people, my culture, and everyone that will listen, and my colleagues, especially the nurses, that there is some help. There is a cure. To me, this is a cure. Not to disclaim, like we got to give out the disclaimers, like, oh, don't stop your medicine, come get the shot. This is not the end all be all, but it's a start.
If and when it happens, we talk about it here on 43 Focus. Here's just some of the topics we cover. Health and health care, as we're doing this morning, alcohol and other drugs, crime, including domestic violence and policing, the good and the bad. We also discuss family issues, the economy, employment, and education. Plus, we talk about housing, politics, leadership, race relations, diversity, equity, and inclusion. If you know someone who can talk clearly about any of these issues, drop me an email at hboomer@woio.com with their info for consideration to be a guest here on the show. We'll be right back.
43 Focus will be back after these messages.
Weeknights on MeTV, watch Andy Griffith at 8, The Beverly Hillbillies at 9, and Green Acres at 9:30.
MeTV, WOIO 19.2.
Want to instantly look more attractive and years younger? The solution is whiter teeth. But you love coffee and tea, maybe even wine or smoking, and all of them stain your teeth and make them yellow. It's time you discovered Power Swabs, the fast 5-minute revolutionary treatment.
The first time I tried it, I was so surprised. My husband was so excited that he wanted to run out and get it. He said, what have you been trying? I said, well, I've tried this product called Power Swab. And he said, I can't believe how white your teeth are. From that point on, I've been sold.
Power Swabs are guaranteed to whiten your teeth up to 2 shades after the first application. After 5-minute daily treatments for the next week, your teeth will be an average of 6 shades whiter. Power Swabs will whiten natural teeth and remove stains from veneers, bonding, caps, and crowns.
This is a Power Swab smile.
This is a Power Swab smile.
Call, go online, or scan the code on your screen right now to receive 50% off. You'll also receive the Power Swab Stain Out Quick Stick, absolutely free. And in addition, you will also get free shipping.
Welcome back. My special guests on this portion of 43 Focus are Kelly Price, CEO and founder of Reset Medical and Wellness Center in Strongsville, and Blandine Williams, a travel nurse and user of Neuro Sympathetic Reset treatment. They are explaining how it affects one's ability to think and ways to unblock the pathway to physically the process of thinking.
Before we run out of time, Kelly, tell us how we can get in contact with you. Are there seminars? Are there videos? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so, well, we often run, and we're actually running a couple next week where we're doing a short explanation of what the procedure is, as well as having a patient that has been through it so that people can ask the patient directly, like questions that they may have. So we do webinars, but the best thing to do if you want to learn more is to go to our website. It's theresetcenter.com, TheResetCenter.com. And you can actually do a free mental health assessment. It's really cool. It kind of acts like a fitness tracker. You do the assessment, and if you get the treatment, then you keep doing it afterward. In our patient engagement team, we follow up with you quite a bit. We want to know how you're doing.
Thank you. Ladies, I really appreciate you taking the time. Blandine Williams and Kelly Price, thank you very much for talking about an issue that is often not talked about and offering some alternatives that we haven't known about or thought about. And we wish you success. And Blandine, I hope you continue to improve. And Kelly, thank you very much for being here on 43 Focus. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
But don't forget to check out this and past editions of 43 Focus on our website at cleveland19.com. Thanks to my special guests for sharing their time and passions with us. My thanks to you and the crew, too. Please tune in every Sunday morning at 6:30 and keep saying hello when you see me out and about. It means a lot to me. I'm Harry Boomer, your host and executive producer of 43 Focus. What you do or not matters. Use all your power to have the effect you want and the change you want to see, as Gandhi said. Be well, everybody. Take good care. Bye-bye.
You've been watching 43 Focus. Join us next week for more discussions on important issues.